Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another preview Q&A show here on All for United. I am your host, Temi, aka Temi Talks United. For everyone who's jumping on with us right now, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure to go to youtube.com/All for United to do that. Make sure we want to get to 25 likes on this show. Whenever we do get to 25 likes, I'm going to ask a question at the end of the show. And the first 5 people to answer that question correctly get a chance to win some great merchandise from Football Town Apparel. Again, if we get to 25 likes and I ask my question, we are going to get you guys some cool gear from Football Town Apparel. I just went brain dead there for like 5 seconds. I don't know what happened. Everyone get in the comments with us. Connor, my guy Connor, evening, gents. Evening to everybody who is joining us right now. Make sure to drop your questions for the Q&A portion right now. We want to have at least 5 to 10 questions, you know what I'm saying, to answer with you guys. I have a great crew with me today. I have Stu. I have 2 new guests with us today, Jeff, who hasn't been on the Q&A show, as well as Callum. Really excited to get these guys' opinions on this game, the matchup, what to look forward to. For the first time in a long time, I'm going into a Manchester United game feeling pretty comfortable. Like, I mean, we're up 4-0 in this tie in the Europa League against Real Sociedad. We're gonna get through. Let's be honest. So this is gonna be a fun, exciting night, a relaxing night on the Q&A show. It's just gonna be good vibes. No need to stress. No need to critique anybody tonight. Let's just have a good time as Manchester United fans. Evening, Jamie, a regular on the show here. Everyone, hit that like button for me really quick. I'm gonna start with Stu. We're up 4-0 in this tie. Not too much to worry about. What do you think? Obviously he's rotate a lot. I mean, that's gonna be pretty obvious to see. But how much do you think he'll rotate? How deep do you think he'll go into his his squad? Will he start some 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds? What do you think he's gonna do, Stu?
No, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to start Ahmad Shorter. Or anything of that nature. I think what I'd like to see him do is start with Henderson in goal by Mcguire. And I'd like him to keep that for Sunday afternoon because I think that's going to be quite a pivotal threesome, so to speak, moving forward. I'd like to see Shaw come in. You may probably see Tellez even. Get that part right. You'll probably see Brandon Williams maybe coming at right back. So I'd rest Shaw and I'd rest Wan-Bissaka. Mata will probably come in, probably start Matic, I would think. I think McTominay injured, Van der Beek's injured, Pogba we know. I don't think he'll risk Cavani. Dan James will probably get the nod again. Martial will get the nod. And maybe Greenwood. I think he'll get the nod. So I expect quite a few changes. I mean, Sociedad did win 4-0 over the week. They beat Alaves, didn't they? 4-0. Their centre forward Isaac scored 3, I think. Mm. So they still pose a threat, but no chance are they going to come and score 4 goals and force it to extra time. No chance, just not happening. So I would say we'll probably get a 2-1 win on the night.
Yeah.
With our reserve team, but I'd like to see that central pairing of Mcguire and Bay and Henderson in the stick. I'd like to see him do that Sunday.
Yeah, very, very interesting points you made about that pair of 3 right there. There's been a lot of conversation about De Gea, if we want to see Henderson going forward, like you mentioned in the Premier League. It's been, I mean, I don't get British media, but I see little clips here and there of, Sky Sports pundits saying, it's essentially time for a changing of the guard, at Manchester United. I wouldn't go as far to say I would want to start Henderson in Premier League games, but I do agree. This is a good opportunity for us to see by Mcguire and Henderson. He's not going to drop. Go ahead.
De Gea's issue has kind of been the last 2 or 3 seasons is he doesn't command his box. He's not quick off his line. There's been multiple goals over this season, the last couple of seasons really, where a young De Gea that sprints off his line, commands his area. He's going to help. He's going to save them. He's going to help out the centre halves. I also said last night on Wall of Reds, it doesn't help Mcguire because he doesn't know which centre half he's playing with from match to match. And so we're at the business end of the season now. We've got a cluster of games that are absolutely vital. We pick up points, maximum points right across the board. So I think Ollie's got a real chance to cement that kind of spine, that three, moving forward. As for the fullback, they take care of themselves, don't they, sir?
Right. Jeff, to that point, I think that the defense is a very interesting topic right now amongst Manchester United fans. A lot of people are dissatisfied, want to see a change, especially with the center back partnership, which is fair because, Lindelof and Mcguire clearly just, I think they're both good center backs. They're just not good for each other. Some people there's a lot of good people. Doesn't necessarily mean they're supposed to be in a relationship together. You know what I'm saying? So this kind of
that's profound, man.
It's structural, a lot of great people doesn't necessarily mean they're supposed to be in a relationship together. But yeah, that's essentially Mcguire and Lindelof. To follow up on that point, do you agree with Stu in that you want to see Henderson not only for this game but potentially for Premier League games going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all about timing. You want to start Dino, get around of games, but at the same time, you don't want to disappoint De Gea too much, because the last time, like the West Brom game, I think we wanted to start Dino, but that would send a wrong message. It's like it might look like an impulsive decision by Ollie if he did that. But yeah, I think Dino should get a run of games and try to communicate with the more regular defensive partnerships. I mean, Mcguire and Bailly is the most ideal one for now. But then again, we always get Mcguire and Lindelof, and working with those two and getting run games with them, we'll definitely see how it should be going, I mean, we don't have a problem with the fullbacks. It's really just that central partnership. And I just saw like a tweet a while ago that you can see the main weakness of De Gea. It's like the goal the other day against Newcastle. That was really a weak cross. I think theoretically, if Dino was in goal, he would have claimed that. But De Gea is more of a typical shot stopper, so he'll just wait for the shot to come in. But you can't save those all the time. I mean, he did for a couple of games before, like amazing Arsenal, Tottenham. Then again, it's not what the keeper should do these days. So yeah, I think Dino should get a run of games.
No, fair enough. I like that. I like that take. Real quick, guys, get in the comments with me. Everyone, make sure to drop a question for us in the comments. You know what I'm saying? A question about anything Manchester United related. It could be transfers. It could be the manager. It could be lineups for tonight. A particular player you have a question about. Drop those questions below for us. You know what I'm saying? Jarvis Cocker says, De Gea is passive, no distribution, not commanding, weak box play, but great reflexes. He only plays because early merits. Interesting. I want to move on from the De Gea debate and get more into the debate of what he wants to what. I want to get on the topic of Anthony Martial, another person who's been, getting a lot of for lack of a better term, just a lot of conversation about him and his future at Manchester United, especially since he's not been playing particularly well this season. I want to ask you, Callum. I think we all agree he's going to start, right? I think we could go across the board and say he's probably going to start on Thursday. I don't know how you guys feel, but when and if he does start, how important do you think this game is for him? Not only just gain some confidence, but to potentially see game time for the rest of the season.
I think it's really important, to be honest. The game, obviously with the 4-0 victory in the first leg, it takes pressure off all the players, including Martial, and hopefully he can use this game to find a bit of form, to get a bit of confidence. I can't really work out his body language at the minute, but he almost seems to not want to play. I think he can tell that his form's completely bang out. And I think, last season, this was sort of the season that he was supposed to kick on and finally show that he was that player that, the alleged Ballon d'Or winner that Monaco believed he could have been. And he just doesn't seem to be hitting those heights, unfortunately. Now, I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but his confidence looks shot, and it's not as if he's not had the game time, because earlier on in the season he was our first choice striker, and it was Cavani that came in and took that off him. And unfortunately, when you've got a world class striker pushing for your spot, you've got to up your game, and he hasn't done that. And unfortunately, I think if this carries on much longer, I don't think Solskjaer will stand for it. And this game on Thursday is huge for him, because at the end of the day, he's at United. He needs to show that he wants to beat United, and hopefully come Thursday, he can score a couple of goals and show why he needs to be at this club. And I love Martial, I always have done, but this season he's really been quite a disappointment. Rashford from last season scored all those goals, and this season he's kicked on, and I think he scored now 18 goals this season with 10 assists. We really thought Martial was going to shadow that as well, and he just hasn't done. And I think now's the time for him to kick on. And with him pushing with Cavani, I think Cavani really should be helping him out, and it doesn't seem to have happened for him. I think Cavani's just took his spot, and fair play to him for it.
Yeah, that's a very, very I like the way you broke that down. For me, everyone knows how much I love Tony. One of my favorite players, probably my favorite player at the club, but I just can't wrap my head around the end.
It's been a huge disappointment this season, really, hasn't it?
The end product this year for me particularly. I still argue, that I'm not one of these people who think, he sulks, or I think his confidence is shot. I think that he is a confidence player. So when he's hot, he has high highs, and he'll have really low lows. And I think he's in one of those periods in his career. I'm not one of the people who thinks, he's sulking, or he's not, doesn't get everything for the team or things like that. But I just can't wrap my head around why he's struggling to have end products. Yeah,
I got something on that. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think as Mark said on the chat, and the last time Martial had this kind of form was when Zlatan came in, and then he lost the number 9. And then last year, he got back the number 9, and he was in the form of his life. And then now we get Cavani in, and now he's back to that Zlatan season. So I think he's more of a reverse mentality type of player. Like, he doesn't like to compete for his place. He's confident if he knows that he's going to be the top dog. But when you bring in someone to push him and to compete for his place, I think that's when he starts to break down in form, and this confidence goes low. So that might be an explanation in terms of it's just general human behavior stuff. But I guess he's that kind of player.
It's a fair, and that's a fair call out, a really fair call out. But I don't know if it's something deeper. A lot of people are. For me, I would still keep him at the club. And to this poor season, but it seems like a lot of the fan base is like ready to just be done with it. Like, clear their hands, be done, move on at the end of the season, go get like a Haaland, even though that will probably never happen with the price that he's going to be at now. But a lot of people seem like they wipe their hands clear of him. Stu, what do you think about that?
Look, Tony, I think he's a great player, but he's not a centre forward. He's not a number 9. Rashford isn't a number 9. Greenwood isn't a number 9 yet. The only out-and-out number 9 we have at the club is Cavani, and that's why he's playing. You can get to a certain level as a striker by playing across the front 3 positions that we play. We don't interact enough across our front 3 anyway. But you can't teach that extra 10%, which is instinct, anticipation. Cavani's got it, and Greenwood hasn't. I know Greenwood's scored a boatload of goals on the under-18s, etc., etc. And Martial did quite well last year. But Martial, he's not actually a winger. He's just an outside left forward, and he's better on his left side coming in. But what he's not doing is attacking the fullbacks anymore. And Rashford, to be fair, isn't attacking the fullbacks either. And that's one of the issues with our drop-off is in penalties, because we're not actually penetrating the box from the angles on the right and the left. Martial really is a confidence player. And I don't think actually we're utilising him that well. I don't think Shaw and Martial work that well on the left. We've obviously seen Dan James and Wan-Bissaka work pretty well on the right over the last couple of days. But you've got to bear in mind, we don't play with wingers. Everybody babbles on about let's get a right winger in. We don't play with wingers. your front two over front three aren't wingers. You what, sorry?
Sorry, I was just saying I disagree with that. I think we don't play with wingers because we've not got any, and I think we really do want wingers at the club.
But
and
you
I
can
think
only
that's
play
why Jadon Sancho was our number one target last summer.
Yeah,
I think if we'd got him, we'd have played completely differently this season.
Yeah, but don't forget with wingers, you can only play a 4-4-2. A winger is in a 4-4-2 situation. Ollie wants to play with a 4-3-3, and you can't play out and out wingers in a 4-3-3. It just doesn't work.
So you're making, and this is an interesting conversation for me, Stu. Martial had his best season last season. I think we can all agree with that, right? In terms of what he did for the club, the goals he scored, and he played in that number 9 position. I agree with the point of the natural instincts. You know, I think he's more of a, for lack of a better term, he's a number 10 in a 4-2-2 or in a 4-4-2. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying?
Don't forget, Temi, like the bulk of last season, we played with a 1 defensive midfielder, which allowed a little bit more creativity in and around, which helps, which really helps.
Yeah.
When you're playing with 2 holding midfielders or 2 similar players in the middle, you will starve or you'll only have 1 creative player on the pitch. And that's what's happening at the minute.
Yeah, let's get into the comments. Let's get into the comments real quick. Love the conversation. Hama says, I think his mental is definitely shot, but I also think, as harsh as it might be with the people around his position, Greenwood, Cavani might get an extension, and Ollie with his eyes always on a striker. Very fair comment. I see Martial getting 1 more season max. If no improvement, he'll be gone. Will be interesting to see where he would end up. Yeah, I really think a top club would take a punch on him. I'm pretty confident about that. We play with.
The thing I'm most scared about with Martial is him leaving and becoming world class, like we all thought he would do at United.
Yeah, and it's the thing. I think if we look at a lot of the players who have left over the past, let's just say 2 years, they've all gone on and done pretty well for themselves. There's very few of them who have kind of left and it got worse for them. If you look at Kaku, the likes of even Darmian's getting games at a big club now.
That's football, though, isn't it? That's football, Temi. Yeah, that happens. That happens. We lost Gerald Piqué back in the early 2000s. Forged a wonderful career out as a centre half at Barcelona. You could list a load of players that left Old Trafford.
Yeah,
and become better players. That's life.
You can also list a load of players that have left Old Trafford as well that haven't done well.
Yeah,
so like you say, it's football.
Fair.
With all due respect, we don't give a damn about that.
Yeah,
we don't want him to do well, but going back to Martial, he is a confidence player. He truly is a confidence player. But the thing about it is, we're just not utilising him like we did last season. And you've got to get him into the games now. The problem we've got is that Rashford and Martial both like the left side of the pitch, and you just can't do it. It doesn't work, does it? So one of them ultimately has to give way. So who that is, I don't know. But I hope he stays, because I said a few weeks ago he's a ferocious talent. He just isn't ferocious at this point in time, and that's what he needs to do.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get in I'm loving the comments real quick. Everyone, make sure to hit that like button. What number are we on right now? Make sure to everyone who is in the comments with us, drop at least one question for us that we can answer at the end of the show. I like this comment. This is an interesting comment, I should say. We should put Martial in the deal for Haaland. Give the Martial an $100 million done deal. I wouldn't spend that much money on Haaland. I really wouldn't. I cannot lie. Martial needs a few games off. Martial needs a few games off the bench. My guy fourth official. Greenwood needs to be Cavani's understudy. Couldn't see Dortmund wanting Martial. Doesn't fit their style. Interesting comments. Let's get on the topic of. I want to talk about Dan James really quickly. He's had 2 really good games.
3.
So Sociedad and then Newcastle, yeah. So I don't remember which game you're talking about, Jeff, but yeah.
When he scored that late goal, I think that started for him, like Southampton, I think.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was more referring to the 2 games on the bounce that we've seen him over the last couple of games. Definitely had more Sociedad than this past weekend. But I thought he's had 2 really decent games. Making a stake for maybe saying, he wants to get more playing time on that right-hand side specifically. Jeff, how do you feel about Dan James? Do you think he should be getting more playing time in the side right now?
Well, he's grown. I mean, I saw Stu's comment, I think last night. It was a tweet, and I think Dan James has grown from last year. Last year, he was forced to play on the right, and our mistake was we kind of overran him. We played him too much, and then he just ran out of gas, and then he fell off a cliff. So his energy levels were down, and his confidence was shot. His decision making was terrible. And this season, I think he got a lot of learning from Cavani, and he got 1 more year of coaching under Ollie. So now he's given the chance, and he's taken advantage of it, especially with Martial's form lately. I think that helps in terms of perspective or of impression, because you see Martial, his work rate. I mean, I think that's his instinct, and I don't blame him for that, because he's a forward. But then again, if you put him side by side with Dan James looks way more. What do you call this? Gives more effort. So, but the danger is if we use him too much again, then we might get that fall off of energy and performance again. So, I definitely agree with Stu's lineup for Thursday, but I'd dressed Dan James for one of the kids. So
yeah, interesting. Let's see. Let's get in the comments real quick. Haaland is the best striker in the world right now. I would say Lewandowski is probably the best striker in the world right now. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Haaland's current form is like his default setting. He just bags for fun. Very good player. I'm not even gonna express my comments on Haaland. It's a very hot take, but I'm sorry, but Erling Haaland is not human. Wow, the love for Erling Haaland. How much as United fans would you be willing to spend on Erling Haaland? Drop that in the comments real quick, because I am interested. I have some hot takes on Erling Haaland. Everyone, drop your questions in the comments real quick. Any question. I saw a couple. Why do you think Solskjaer keeps playing Martial? Is it lack of alternatives or playing him back in form? We might answer that question right now.
Something for that.
Yeah, we might answer that question right now. Make sure to give us some other questions, some generic questions. Stuart, you usually give me a good question. Don't leave me hanging again, bro. Jacob, ask a question. I see Fred Woodward ask another question. You know what I'm saying? We want more questions in here. You would pay $150 million. Oh wow. I would never, ever, ever, ever do that in a million years. Haaland is a guaranteed success. He's a monster, better than Mbappe. Oh my goodness! Wow. With all the money we wasted on transfer, I'm certain $100 million on Haaland is money well spent.
I think with Haaland and Mbappe, I think in 10 years it'll be the old. Not in terms of ability. I don't think anyone will ever be as good as Cristiano and Messi, but I think in 10 years they'll be the 2 players that have dominated the Ballon d'Ors and the world's best players, and them 2 will probably be the cream of the crop in 10 years. Them 2 are amazing. I think you'll be looking at Mbappe going to Real Madrid. I think Haaland, unfortunately, I think you're probably going to be seeing him at City. I personally think he'll go there instead of anywhere else. I think he'll be Aguero's replacement, which is terrible because I'd love him at United. But I think, I couldn't tell you who's better right now. I think they're very, very close.
Interesting. We'll circle back to that at the end of the show, because I do like that.
I'd like to chip in on that. So you circle back, because I'd like to chip in on Haaland.
Yeah, 100%. I have so many takes on that, man. So many. We're talking about Haaland too much in the comments, guys. Give me some Manchester United related things. You know what I'm saying? I want some. How many likes are we on real quick? I'm gonna go hit the like button really quickly. You know what I'm saying? Always do at this point of the show. Hit that like button, everybody. Hit the subscribe button. We're currently on 15 likes. Okay, so only 10 more to go, and we have a good way to go in this stream. So 15 people watching right now. Make sure, actually 20 people watching right now. Make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I want to ask a question at the end of the show. The first 5 people to answer it correctly get their name put in a hat to win some great merchandise from Football Town Apparel. You can be in the entry more than once. So it's like a list of numbers, right? And you can be as many numbers as possible. You know what I'm saying? So just keep on answering questions. You have a better chance to win gear. Talk about Dan James. Can he play an important role in the next few games? Will Grealish be a United player? Oh, these are great questions. Hey, Charlie Sapien, make sure and United are I don't even know who this is, but you are a clown. United are dead. Bringing me the team. Yeah, shut up. I don't know who you are. You're a clown. But anyway, to Charlie Sapien, make sure to go to youtube.com/United and join us on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. He must be like a Arsenal fan or like a Liverpool fan or something. You know what I'm saying? I have no words. But let's talk about the kids real quick. There's some people I really do want to see. I want to see Axel Tuanzebe in this game. I want to see Amad Diallo, get at least 20 minutes in this game. I wish we had the opportunity to see maybe Brandon Williams in this game because we haven't seen him feature in quite a while. I think it's a good opportunity to get him some game time. I mean, he played some huge games last year. I mean, he was a pretty big fixture in the side, played in the Europa League semifinal, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd like to see him get some game time again. I'm gonna pose this question to Callum. Would you like to see maybe some of those academy boys who haven't gotten some time in a while, specifically Axel, because I think he needs to, eventually get some game time, whether it's at right back, giving Aaron Wan-Bissaka a break, center, something. He needs to get some game time. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I'd love to see Axel, definitely. I think Axel could play at centre-back, no problem, obviously. I think, obviously, his confidence, again, has been a bit shot. I think that's more because of off-field problems in terms of the racial abuse that he's been receiving, which is awful. I think Brandon Williams probably will come in at right-back as well. I also, to be honest, I'd love to see Amad start. I think, again, pressure's off. Not really anything to prove. I think, he can just go out there and express himself and hopefully have a good game. I think we'll probably see Shoretiri again. I think he'll probably get 10, 15 minutes at the end. I think this is the great thing about the fact that we did win 4-0 in the first game. Took the pressure off all the lads and they can all just go out and have fun. And I think that's what Ollie loves doing. He likes giving debuts to the youngsters because he knows that, that they can be good enough. And I think there's one player that from the youth setup that I've wanted to see for a long time, and it's Hannibal. I thought we might have seen him by now, so it's quite strange that we haven't. I'd love to see his talents because we bought him from Monaco for 9 million when he was a 16-year-old. You've obviously got the talent there if you're having that amount of money spent on you at such a young age. So yeah, I think, and again, I think Greenwood will probably start up front. I think Stu did mention before he's not an out-and-out number 9 yet. I think that is sort of where we want him to be. I think that's sort of the future. And I think it might even possibly put us off buying a striker. I hope it doesn't. But I think in 5 years' time, we'll be looking at Greenwood being our main number 9. And I'd love to see that happen after he scored so many goals in the under-18s and under-23. So he's definitely got the capability. But we just seem to constantly play him out on the right at the minute. And I'd love to see him up front and giving him a good run of games up front. Because again, we haven't got that many options for the two wings, and we're having to move players out of position to put them on in them positions, and it's really unfortunate. And I think everyone seems to be looking away from Sancho because it's going to hinder Greenwood's development. I don't think it will, because I think the whole point of buying a right winger will then push Greenwood into the centre of the pitch. But I think with the 4-0 victory, I think we'll see quite a few young ones. Maybe not for the full game, but definitely getting a good few minutes under the belt.
No, fair enough. All fair points. I would love to see Amad Diallo start. Definitely in the brief cameo he made. He made some cute, clever passes. Good weight of pass just from the couple passes we saw. But I want to get right into Q&A. The comments are just crazy right now. So real quick, I'm going to go on the horn. We've previewed this game enough. I told you it's a relaxing day. We want to have a lot of time to do Q&A tonight. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to stress about this game. We can have fun. We can talk about Haaland, Mbappe. We can talk about anything we want. This is the freedom of me being the host. Laissez-faire. Ben probably hates it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't care. We're going to have a great time. Real quick, around the horn, 25 seconds. Stu, I want your score prediction. I think you already gave it to us, but I want your first goal score too.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-1 to us. First goal scorer. If Mata plays, I'm going to go with a free kick. Mata.
Okay, I like that. Jeff, real quick, score line and first goal scorer.
I think Marshall will finally get one. I'm not sure if it's going to kickstart his run of form, but I think Marshall will get one, and he might be the first scorer. If it's not Mata through a free kick, then it's going to be Marshall with one of those amazing goals that he always does.
Yeah. Okay, Callum, score line and first goal scorer.
Well, I thought it was going to be 2-1 as well, but I'll keep it interesting and say 3-1 United. And I think Marshall will score. Marshall will probably get the first goal. Like Jeff said, I don't think it'll kickstart his confidence, but it'll be nice to see him on the score sheet.
Yeah. I'm going to go 2-0, and I'm going to go Martial first goal scorer because I've been thinking about that for a while now. I can't lie. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the preview portion. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. There's so much good debate going on in the comments. It's hard for me to focus and be the host while I'm reading all of your comments and like trying not to laugh. You know what I'm saying? This is why I love this show. So much great interaction, so much great traction. Everyone hit that like button. I want to know what number we're on right now. You know what I'm saying? Hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe button. Let's go straight into it. I want to see. I'll get to that question later. I think that's a fascinating question, but I want to do a fun question first. Who is the first victim? I saw a question like, where did it go? Where did my question go? Yes. Will Grealish be a Manchester United player? I like this question. I really like this question. Actually, I'll leave it up real quickly. So from Charlie Sapien on Periscope, thank you for the question. I'm going to go ahead and say no. Would I want that to happen? So desperately, yes. I love Jack Grealish, like one of my favorite players in the league. I think he has world-class ability. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say he's world-class because he hasn't proven him at that level. But boy, oh boy, England, you guys have an amazing talent there. Like it's underrated. If he was Spanish, he would be getting lauded because of the way he plays. Just so smart on the ball. Elegant, never places a pass. What a player. What do you think about that, Stu? Will Grealish be a United player? And would you want? And the better question is, would you want him to be a United player as well?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of with you on that one. Really, I don't think he will become a United player. As a talent, he's a brilliant footballer, very intelligent, likes to tackle. Can score goals. I suppose it kind of depends what might happen if Pogba kind of moved on in the summer. Could he come and fill Pogba's shoes? I don't know. It's a difficult one to answer. Well,
yeah.
But I would say, we've got far more pressing positions to fill, first and foremost, and B, you're looking at so much money for an English-born player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You just can't afford a Grealish, I don't know, a Declan Rice for argument's sake, and maybe a Kunde. You can't afford it in the one transfer window. It's just not possible. So I would say I would like him, but no, it's not happening.
Fair enough. Jeff, what are your feelings on this?
I do want him there. I think if he kind of stars for England in their next few games or in the next year, then I think United will try to overpay him. I mean, with the past transfers that we've done, we've always overpaid for England players who've done well at the country level. But yeah, we have more positions that are of need, and at the earliest he might come in if and when Pogba leaves. I mean, otherwise then they'd be back to their old ways of just getting that big name in the squad and not really addressing what we need on the pitch. So,
no, fair enough. Callum, what say you?
I think no, he won't be. But if Pogba leaves, he could be. But I think what we've got to bear in mind is we've got more pressing positions we need, i.e. the centre-back, the right wing. But another thing we've got to bear in mind is he only signed a new contract last summer, I think, a new 5-year contract last summer. So if we did go for him, by Jesus, he would be expensive. And I mean, again, I'd rather go get a centre-back and a Sancho than a centre-back and a Declan Rice and a Sancho than one Jack Grealish. He's an incredible player. Like you say, world-class ability, but not this summer, not for me.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. Stuart O'Hara comes in with a great question. Aside from all the youth names we're linked with, Sancho, Haaland, Koundé, etc., what player would you like to see at United? Someone that no one's talking about. This is a very fascinating question. I think a lot of people are talking about these young players, and we desperately need experience. Like, we're at the point where we're almost capped out for young players in that starting 11 for me, personally. You know, Rashford, under 25, Mason, under 25, Tony, under 25, Scott, right around 25, Paul's only 26, 27, you know, Harry's only 26, 27, Victor's only 26, 20. Like, we don't have any experience. Like, we truly have no winning experience in that side. So there's a lot of positions, like center back, for instance. I don't want a young center back. I don't. I want somebody who's won things or played at extremely high levels. So like a Koulibaly, people are like, oh my God, that's an outdated name. He's still a great center back. Sergio Ramos, still a top 10 center back in the world. He would walk in and be our best center back. Just a fact. There's no questioning that. I want some experience on our side. I want some competition for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So this name, there was a name, you know, people you were going to say I'm crazy, but, you know, Kieran Trippier as a backup, I have no issues with that because he has tons of experience and played in really big games. So those are just a couple names. This is a really great question, by the way. I might think of some more while I go around the horn. But Stu, what are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it's a really tough question, that is, because you tend not to, as fans, look outside the box, do you? Because the papers are saying this and other channels are saying that. But for me, there's only one player I'd like to see, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago, and that's Kimmich. We'd never get him, but he's just absolutely on a different planet. He can play right back as well as holding player, and he's transformed Bayern Munich. Not that he did transform him anyway, but he really is a special talent. But we just couldn't afford him, and you know, we probably we wouldn't even be in for him. So Kimmich for me. I quite like the idea of Trippier as a right back. I think Wan-Bissaka would learn. He's obviously, Wan-Bissaka is probably the best in Europe at the minute on one-on-one positions, but I think Trippier would probably show him the game as an all-round perspective rather than specifics, which is good at. It's really Kimmich really for me. You know, I'll talk about Haaland later on when we talk about Haaland, but for me, Kimmich.
That's a great call out. I mean, I don't know where Bayern gets these. They're like robots. They just produce world-class players every single year. All of a sudden, Alphonso Davies came out of nowhere last year, and he's a world-class. He's a Canadian brother, world-class. He played in the MLS, and I remember seeing him play in the MLS, and I'm just like, he was obviously no one expected that. No one expected a world-class left back right out of the gate playing for. I don't even think they expected it, but that's just what they do at Bayern Munich. I envy them tremendously. Jeff, what say you about this question?
Well, I'll be more realistic in terms of contract terms, but not necessarily of the wages and the transfer fee. The transfer fee is not going to be an issue because they're out of contract anyway. We have Varane. I think he's out of contract in a season or two. I think we have to get more winners in the squad, as you said, Temi. So I'm not. I mean, I do agree that Trippier will get Wan-Bissaka good competition, but we want those champions in the squad. So Varane would be one, and if this player is okay with the wages that we're going to give him, then I'll go with Alaba. Aside from being a decent player, he's Filipino, so I'm gonna go there. So
yeah, it looks like he's good, but I love David Alaba. What a player! I mean, what a player! It's unfortunate that it doesn't seem like United know who he is or what he's about, because he should be one of the first people that we sign.
United don't do shrewd business, though, do they? They always spend over the odds because of the people that run the club. But that's another debate in itself.
Yeah, Callum, right ahead, go straight into it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I don't know, but I don't know about this one, because I've seen quite a few. I think Samare from Lille would be a cracking player again, though he's quite young. But I think he'd be perfect probably to maybe replace Matic. But again, I disagree with the concept that we don't have many winners in the club. I mean, Bruno straight away, Mata, he won the Champions League. Nemanja Matic, these are guys that have won. Cavani, he's won everything. So I think we have got those. So I think looking at this experience, as good as it can also be harmful, because it can, if they've been around the block, wages could be an issue, things like that. And I think it sort of goes against that long-term objective that Ollie wants. Looking at younger players, we can develop them how we want. They can play for United for a very long time. I think Samare would be a cracking player. If we were to go for experience, Ramos would be number one, I think, for me.
Yeah.
That'll never happen. I think he's using us just to get a higher contract at Madrid, but Ramos would be perfect. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, to clarify my point on the leadership aspect of it, you mentioned, Mata obviously won everything. Matic won everything at the club level. Cavani won everything at the club level, has won international trophies. I'm more referring to the people who are consistent, first 11 players. That's where my qualm is. You know what I'm saying? So Bruno, he's won.
Yeah, it's only Bruno really there, isn't
it? And even then, he's won at I don't want to call it a lower level, but he's not won the top trophies in Europe yet. Even though we see he's a winner. He's not an issue at all, obviously. But I'm talking about if you look through the first 11. So Ollie's preferred first 11. Not enough winners for me. Not enough leadership. Just watch when a goal gets scored, or when we concede a goal, I should say. Everyone's just looking around like it's just there's no backbone there. But let's move on, because there's so many questions in here that I want to get to. This is an interesting one from Ivan Donson. Thank you for the question. How many likes are we on, everybody? Really quick, give me that number in the comments. I know there's so many probably that I'm missing right now. I'm gonna get to this later as well, but let me go back to that initial question of Temi. Liverpool had no Champions League winners, but no, very interesting, and I will get to that question. Where did I just dropped the other question though? Where did it go?
It was about Garner.
It was about Garner, yeah. So,
yeah.
Do you think we are not getting linked to CDM? Is it because of James Garner? What do you think of him? I think he's a top player in the making. That's an interesting question. I think there's a strong potential that the club is thinking like that, because that sounds like how the club would think. We have a young player, let's bet him into the side. Get him integrated. Nothing wrong with that, but if the club are thinking like that, that's just a shame, because you need to go and get a top level defensive midfield player, no matter who's in the academy. Sir Alex Ferguson used academy players. He didn't hesitate to buy ever. If he felt like he needed a top class person in a position, he's going to do everything he can to get that player, regardless of who's in the academy. So I would hope that, yes, Garner's a good player. We've seen him play sporadically. We saw him get a cameo last year in the Europa League. I haven't watched enough of him this season. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what he's doing he was at Watford. He's somewhere else now. Forest, yeah. I haven't watched him at Nottingham Forest, so I can't answer I think he's going to be a top player, but he's a good player. We still need a defensive midfield player. Stu, what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, he's an excellent player. He's worked wonders at Forest since he's been there, since the turn of the year. But he won't start for us next season. And so that pretty much answers the question. We need a CDM to start next year. Ollie clearly likes McTominay. I don't know where he sees McTominay, where he sees him as a box-to-box, or whether he sees him as a six. I don't know, but I know Ollie likes him. But I like Garner. He's been at the club for a long, long time. He's kind of not, been starring in the under-23s, but never really knocked on the first team door. And that's always a worry for me anyway. So hopefully this loan period at Forest will bring him on a bit more. He was okay at Watford. He was steady. He was nothing. Didn't pull up any trees. But he's not going to start for us next season. Right. So it kills the question, really.
Right. Jeff, real quick, what do you think?
I think he was doing well at Watford until the managerial change, and then he didn't get those starts. That's why he moved to Forest. And for the past few games, I think he's doing okay. But yeah, as Stu said, he's not going to start next season. And what we need are more experienced players on the 11 with the leadership, with those accountable leaders. I mean, we got leadership on the pitch technically because we have a captain, but there's no self-accountability there whatsoever. So I think we need more of those types like Bruno and even McTominay. But with McTominay, we're still figuring out what his best position is. So I think we need a starting CDM who's won it. So yeah.
Callum, what say you?
I don't personally think we're linked to many CDMs because it's not exactly an exciting position to be linked to. I think it's more exciting to get a big expensive centre back or centre forward. So it's kind of a position that gets forgotten about, really. Don't think we're not linked to him because of James Garner. I think James Garner's a bit of a different position. He's more of a box to box, progressive kind of player. I think he always kind of looks for that forward pass. He did okay at Watford. I think the managerial change did hinder him. That's why they ended up taking him to Forest. And from what I'm hearing at Forest, he's doing really well. He's picked up a couple of man of match awards. So he's doing well. Whether his career will be at United, I think that's something yet to see. He is a good player, though, from what I've seen of him. I think at this moment in time, I think he'd be a great squad player for us. But, I think maybe another loan might do him some good next year as well.
Fascinating. No, all fair points. Temi, would you not have liked Diaz because he's young, 23? The answer to that is no. I would have loved Diaz. The difference between Diaz going to City, though, and Diaz going to Man United are two completely different things, right? He probably wouldn't have been as good if he came here because he doesn't have the infrastructure around him. He doesn't have the best manager in the world. That's no disrespect to Ollie. It's just the level Pep is on is just not comparable. And then on top of that, everywhere he looks at Man City, he sees winners. He sees De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, Aguero. I mean, it's just literally endless people who have been playing in huge top-level Champions League games, league games, international competitions throughout the squad. So no, yeah, I see what you're trying to say there, but it's such a different thing. Kevin Campbell will be a great CDM for us. Interesting. He is a good player. McTominay is 100% a box-to-box. He has turned into a real goal threat. Love how he arrives late into the box. Yeah, in the academy, he definitely played higher up the pitch. Wasn't a DM in the academy at all. Yes, we need to sign another Bruno Fernandes. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do. I don't think you just sign another Bruno. You can't talk in hypotheticals, Temi. Bruno has performed in this squad. Diaz is everything we need. Couldn't disagree more. Again, there are exceptions to the rule. Like I'm not Bruno. We didn't expect this from Bruno. Let's start there. No one expected this level of output from Bruno. We expected a good player, not literally giving you a goal and assist almost every game type of player. But anyway, that's not the point. Let me find some more questions. I definitely missed some. Let me find some real quick. There's some good questions here. Drop some questions for me too as well in the comments. I know I missed some, but I'm trying to go up and find them. Really quickly. I should be more prepared. Way more prepared. There's just so many comments. There's so many comments flowing through. It's like the questions are getting lost in them. Will the injuries in midfield cost us? Only Bruno, Fred, Matic fit. Yes, it's already costed us 100%. Not having Pogba for a month. How many weeks? It's not been a month yet, but 3 weeks, something like that. It's costed us. It really has. We have lacked invention in the midfield since Pogba's been gone. Yes, people think. Yes, I'm not referring to Bruno. For me, Bruno's not really. He's not in that midfield. He's much further up the pitch, for lack of a better term. So we've definitely missed that creativity in midfield. We've missed McTominay, can't lie. We've missed his goal threat. We've missed his, aggression and energy. Not the best player in the world, but the game Pogba got injured, actually, I think wasn't it Everton, the 3-3 against Everton. Pogba and McTominay looked amazing. Both of them together in that midfield too looked amazing together, and we haven't gotten to see it since then. So, guys, I'm going to go with Callum. Do you agree with this?
I'm just absolutely shocked at the question, to be honest. I thought Liverpool were the only team in history that ever got injuries. I didn't think United ever got them, did they? I thought only Liverpool got yeah. I don't think it'll cost us. I think we've got enough there. Pogba's not out for too long. I think the real issue is if Bruno was to get injured. Unfortunately, we've put a lot of our hopes on him, which is where the squad depth needs to come in, which is, to be honest, where we need a busy summer. Whether the board will back that, I don't know. But I didn't realise we got injuries, to be honest. I thought it was only Liverpool that got them.
That's the way they act. That is the way they act, honestly. Yeah, I'm just thinking about last season and how many injuries we went through last season. And it's just the level of excuses by both fan clubs just so drastically different. We didn't have Pogba all last season. McTominay had a big spell where he was hurt. Martial, even in his best season, missed tons of games. Rashford, back injury.
Temi, just to interrupt, I want to point something out here, right?
Yeah.
In 2001, Man United got so many injuries, including Jaap Stam, who was arguably the best defender in the Premier League at that time.
Yeah.
He missed most of the season. We still won the league.
Yeah.
Van Dijk went, only great teams retain the league.
Yeah.
It was only 7 months ago that this team was touted as the greatest Premier League side ever.
Yeah,
I'm afraid it's the biggest load of what I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know.
But sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, there's too many Liverpool pundits in the media just trying to funnel that agenda. It was never ever going to work. Stu, what say you about that question?
Yeah, you see, they've been costing us all season. You take Pogba and Bruno out of that equation. Donny van de Beek because he's hardly played, but I just don't like any of our midfield three. I don't like Fred, I don't like Matic, and I don't necessarily like McTominay. Before I played centre half, I was a deep line central midfield player. Played at a decent level. Your deep line central midfielder, he kind of almost dictates the flow, he dictates the play. He breaks up the opposition and he drops it 3 or 4 yards and he gets you up the pitch as quick as he can. Fred doesn't do that. Matic occasionally does it. McTominay doesn't. McTominay's quite vibrant. He's quite strong. He's big. He's tall, but he's quite languid at the same time. You'll have one decent game in 6. And the problem is everybody's a little bit rose-tinted spectacles because he scored a couple of goals this season. You're playing at Manchester United. You've got to perform at the highest level week in and week out. And our midfield three, if you want to call them that, and as I say, I'm not including Pogba or Fernandes in there. It's just not. They just haven't been consistent enough, and so they've cost us all game. And don't forget, also, your deep line centre midfield is supposed to protect your back four, and they just haven't done that for us. So we've got a gaping hole in there, and it's got to be dealt with.
Fascinating, Jeff. What say you?
Well, that was a take. I think if you combine those three into one person, like passing of Matic, the energy of Fred, and the industry of McTominay, then we wouldn't be talking about the replacement. But then again, they're 3 separate players, so that's why we need someone who has all of those good qualities into one. But then again, they're separated into 3 different parts of the pitch. That's why it's not working. That's why the current pickings that we have, Matic, Fred, Bruno, that wouldn't really work. It's too unbalanced. So it might be our problem if McTominay or Pogba doesn't get back by next week. So yeah.
Fair enough. Interesting recent question by Fred Woodward. Why is Ollie persisting with Lindelof Mcguire partnership in the league? Is it purely because of biased fitness or is there more to it? This is a great question. I'll start with it. First of all, I think the real answer to the question is he just thinks those are his 2 best center backs. It sounds really boring to say. It's not like the sexiest answer, but Ollie thinks those are his 2 best center backs. It's really It's really that simple. And honestly, I don't necessarily disagree with him, but at the same time, I think the partnership is obviously a problem. I think but here's the thing, and this is maybe a controversial take. I think if we saw Baye for a run of 10 games, I think we'd still concede goals, right? We'd still concede goals, and then we'd have to find another scapegoat. Honestly, I don't think just like the way you mentioned, Stu, the midfield three, how you don't really like. I don't necessarily love any of Lindelof, Mcguire, and Baye. I think the fan base loves the idea of what Baye could be, but he's not that. Like does he have pace? Yes. Does he have the ability to drive through drive with the ball with his feet? Yes, but he's not a great center back. He's a good center back. Harry Mcguire is a good center back. Victor Lindelof is a good center back. They could all play. They're all probably Champions League level center backs, but they're not the best center back on the title winning side. And I will continue to say that. You can if we have Baye Mcguire, I promise you we'll still be crying out for center back at the end of the season. It's just a blame game right now. But Stu, what do you think about that?
Well, you're spot on, mate. To be honest, you kind of take the words out of my mouth, really. So good on you, mate. Because I'm exactly the same with you. In my later career as a footballer, I played centre half, and I was a no nonsense centre half. So I'd be clearing headers, going through the backs of players, etc., etc. But I had a more graceful centre half to the right of me. So I was a left centre back, and I had a more graceful centre half to the right of me, who was quicker than me, a bit younger than me, but could carry the ball better than me at the back, and read the game quite well. But and we became quite a good partnership. The thing about Mcguire and Lindelof is they're very, very similar. And Lindelof, in all fairness to the kid, he's been carrying a back injury all season. And having a back injury, Rio Ferdinand will attest to this. It's an absolute nightmare. But we don't have, and I think the problem is Ollie doesn't trust Tuanzebe just yet to come in for a run of 6 or 8 games. And Baye, bless him. And I do want to see him Thursday, and I want to see him Sunday at Chelsea. As I've said right at the top of the show, he is a greenhouse. He is made of glass, and that is a slight issue. But you are right, Temi. We are going to concede goals with all of those pairings. And one thing I would say as well is Mcguire, bless him, he hasn't got a clue who he's going to line up with week in and week out, because Ollie does change the team. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm a bit indifferent on him. So that's my take on it.
Callum, I'll go with you real quick. Let's try and keep it to like 30 seconds so we can answer more questions. There's so many dropping in right now.
Yeah, sorry, Temi.
Yeah, I think Lindelof and Mcguire probably are the first choice partnership. I think they're both very good centre backs. I don't think they're a very good pairing as two centre backs, which is a problem. I think they're both each other's problem, to be honest. We spent £80 million on Mcguire, so I think it's going to be him that keeps his place. Personally, I think Baye should be Mcguire's partner. I think I think he complements Mcguire a lot better. His pace helps, and he's a bit of a mad bastard, to be honest. So I'd probably pick Mcguire than Lindelof over Lindelof, but I do like Lindelof.
Jeff, what's to you?
I think all is trying to prove a point to the people upstairs. We have these good center backs, but obviously they're not good enough. So I'm gonna keep playing him, and you see that they're not really good enough. So you gotta buy him. You gotta buy new people. So that's my take on it.
That's a great call.
It is a good point, Jeff.
I agree with that. I think the club knows what Eric Baye is. They know he's never going to be able to stay fit, and that's not a knock on Eric. You know what I'm saying? We all want him to be healthy. We all want him to play 15 games on the bounce, but we haven't seen that in years. So, and the club know that. So, I think that's Jeff. You just brought up an amazing point. I think this is Ollie telling the board, you see what I'm dealing with right now. Get me a damn good center back, because these two, they're just not working. Great.
Just quickly, Temi, I'll just make a point about Callum. He's absolutely spot on as well, because Lindelof, in his own right, is an excellent centre half.
I agree.
So is Mcguire in his own right. And Jeff's point's good. I think we've probably all hit the nail on the head really with it. It's such a difficult decision that Ollie's got to make week in and week out. And the other thing about Lindelof being such a good player, he plays right back for Sweden, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's a multi-talent. Sorry, Callum. Yeah, go ahead, mate.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to Temi's point, to be honest. You said, it's not a knock on Lindelof why he's injured. It can be sometimes. Some of the stuff he does do on the pitch is pretty mental.
Yeah.
I think when he does it, you look at him and you go, oh, God, you're injured, aren't you? And then he goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the tackles he does, as amazing as they are, and as good as a centre-back he is, sometimes he does. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't change it for the world. It's hilarious to watch sometimes. And when it works, it's brilliant. But when it doesn't work, he hurts himself and then he's out for 6 weeks. And I'm so conflicted on whether to love his craziness or want him to tone it down so he can actually be that centre-back that we all knew he could be when we bought him.
Right.
I think we're all spoiled with Vidic, aren't we? Because Vidic was crazy, but he was solid, absolutely rock hard.
Exactly. And I think
I can get up. So
yeah, we're four likes away from 25. Everyone hit that like button for us real quick. 4 likes away from 25. This is a really good question. Ed will use the pandemic as a crouch for not spending big, meaning no Sancho. I'd probably agree with that. Will y'all be comfortable seeing Greenwood, Diallo, Palestri being rotated for the right wing spot next season? If it means we get a defensive midfielder, a center back, and maybe some cover at right back, yeah, probably. I mean, it sounds so crazy because this right wing hole has been in the side for so long. It just feels like an endless thing. But I do think we could get away. Like to your point, we could get away with Greenwood on the right. We could get away with Diallo rotating with him. We could get away with Dan James. I would prefer it if we bought a DM, a center back, and some cover in other positions. And I don't want to spend 80 million pounds on Jadon Sancho. I don't. I think there's other things we could be spending our money on. And I think how many of our just off the top of my head, how many of our major 75, 85 million pound signings have we made and said, you know what? We hit it out of the park with that one. It hasn't happened. It hasn't really happened in a long time. So I'd rather just be a little more risk averse. Get that DM position. Get an experienced center back. Get an experienced right back at cover. And if we can get a right, I'm not saying we don't need a right winger. I'm saying I want to focus on other positions first. I talked way too long. Callum, I see you're itching. Let's go straight to you.
Man United need a right winger, and we have done for years. Jadon Sancho could be that right winger for the next 10 years, and I'd be signing him for 100 million. We should have signed him last season for 120 million. It's as simple as that. That and a centre back are our main positions that we need. We get them, we're looking at being 10 points closer to City right now. If we'd have got them positions in the summer, instead of waiting until deadline day because of the utter garbage of the board that run this club, if they weren't there and we had people that could actually run a football club, I hate doing this, but compare it to City. Pep wants a player, he gets a player because the people that run that club know what they're doing. We have a banker in charge of our football club who doesn't, and that is why we end up spending £80 million on Harry Mcguire. We waited until he'd signed a 5-year contract with Leicester, when instead we should have got him for £20 million before Leicester even signed him, but we didn't. We get the players that are proven at another club, and then the price goes up to £100 million. If we had proper football people in charge who could spot these bargains, we wouldn't be spending this amount of money. And it's so annoying. Sancho should be the number one player we sign this summer, number one, and then we go for a centre-back. We need a centre-back, don't get me wrong, and we need a defensive midfielder, but Sancho could win the Ballon d'Or in 5 years, and he needs to be signed.
Fascinating. Stu, what say you?
Well, first and foremost, she'll probably get Sancho for about 50, 60 million in the summer because Dortmund are desperate for the cash. And there's going to be a fire sale at Dortmund anyway. So I think the new manager wants to come in and rebuild. Sancho. I don't know, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know. He had an excellent season last year in Germany. He was off the pace for the first 6 months of this season, and he started to find a bit of form. My worry about him is his defensive ability. and is tracking back. He doesn't do that enough for me. And I've said before, if you're going to bring a right winger in, a right winger, a conventional right winger plays in a 4-4-2 system. And we don't play that. We play 4-3-3. So the wingers or the forwards that we've got, are a bit closer. They're a bit tighter. They don't play or don't hug the touchline anyway, which is what a conventional winger would do. Now, Sancho would add pace. Sancho had a goal scoring threat. There's absolutely no argument there. No argument whatsoever. I don't know whether I'd go in the transfer market for him. I just don't. Whether it's because I'm old school, I don't know.
Jeff,
I don't know.
Just to clarify, Callum, and I'll be quick because I want Jeff to get his take on this. I'm not all the way on Stu's side where he's not. I know he's a top player. Like, I'm confident about that. The issue is we've been burned so many times on these exorbitant, like you mentioned, City. Pep gets players he wants, right? Pep doesn't really spend, until recently, like on a Diaz, right? It was like a 50 to 60 million cap on players, whereas we're spending 80 million pounds on Harry Mcguire. We're going 90 million on Pogba. You know what I'm saying? And we end up kind of being burned. I'm gonna go to Jeff real quick.
Yeah,
We're coming up on time, Jeff. What do you think about the Sancho situation?
Well, I'd give the three, like Greenwood, Diallo, and Pulisic, like half a season, just to see where we're at and if they're gonna work out. Because Ahmad might be amazing, and we don't really need Sancho, and we need a left-footed, right-sided player. We don't have that. Like, even Tahith Chong is not he's a left-footed, left-sided player. He's not a right-sided player. So I'd give those three half a season. If it doesn't work out, then let's try for a January window signing for Sancho.
Fascinating. Oh, goodness, what a conversation point. I want to end with the. Let me see before I say that, because we've had a conversation about Erling Haaland and Mbappe, and there's not necessarily a what's the word I'm looking for? A question in the comments. But everyone, hit that like button for me real quick. This is going to be our last conversation point. Haaland and Mbappe, a big conversation on Twitter right now. Who would you rather sign? Who do you think is the better player? Everyone, get in the comments real quick and share Haaland or Mbappe. Who do you think is better? Get it in the comments right now. Everyone, just give me your one-letter. Give me your one-letter answer, or your one-word answer. Mbappe. Oh my goodness, he is. I don't know where I saw Haaland is better. Mbappe is way better than Erling Haaland. Like, I mean, way better. And I know people probably think I'm crazy I'm crazy for saying that. The things that Mbappe can do with the ball at his feet is just on another level. What he's done at the highest level of the World Cup, proven it at that level already. Been to Champions League finals. Obviously, he's playing for a super club in PSG who have tons and tons of money. But in terms of ability, I feel like Haaland is very one-dimensional, and that sounds extremely harsh. Obviously, he's probably the most clinical striker we have in the world right now. But his game is, he's probably one of makes the best runs, some of the best runs out there. He'll get in behind and he'll score bangers. He's not that great with his back to goal. For someone who's as big as he is. Not great with that. And to me, that is a damning thing for someone that's that big. You can't play with your back to goal. And I think in the biggest, when he gets to a top club, I think he's going to find it harder than he is right now at Dortmund. Because there's a lot of people who've put up immense numbers at Dortmund. Henrik Mkhitaryan put up amazing numbers at Dortmund. Anyway, that's besides the point. What say you, Stu, Mbappe or Haaland?
Well, it's Mbappe really. I'm kind of with you really. Haaland's first touch is pretty poor. His back to goal play is not great. So his overall game isn't where it needs to be. But fuck me, what a striker! The kid knows where the back of the net is, exactly. And if he's got great service. And that's all you need as a striker. Ruud van Nistelrooy will tell you that. But Ruud had a bit more about him. I always remember when we bought Andy Cole.
Reminds you of Van Nistelrooy. Wow.
Oh, Rude was
way better. That's like,
Haaland's 20. He's 20.
He is 20. He is 20.
Sorry, I was just making my point about Andy Cole. We brought Andy Cole in, and he was just a goal scorer. That's all he was. But we developed him into the player that he became, and he was the best exponent of back to goal scoring you've ever seen in the Premier League. He was just unbelievable. But Haaland at the minute, in terms of pure goal scoring, just pure goal scoring. Else, there's nobody better. He is number one. But as an overall player, you've just got to lean on Mbappe at the minute. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what Haaland does in 3 or 4 years' time. So
I would agree with that. Jeff, what do you think?
At this point in time, with this team, I think we need someone like Haaland in that starting 11 because we don't have that kind of player. Just nicks goals out of nowhere. I do think Mbappe is a better player overall, but we have too many players on the pitch who want the ball on the feet. So I'd rather go with the fox in the box goal poacher that we need Martial to be, and what Cavani is really. Be that striker who stays in the box and just waits for his opportunity to get the ball in and do something with it. But overall, again, Mbappe is the overall better player. But for what we need, it's more of like Haaland.
To Callum, I'm gonna get to your point. I don't. Actually, I don't think I've asked you this question yet.
He hasn't said. I don't think
he hasn't said anything. I'm tripping. Callum, share your thoughts.
You take a few things into account here. I think Mbappe had probably cost 200 million for a reason. He's world class. Now Haaland, it's sort of the reason why we didn't sign him in the first place was because of the release clause that Raiola wanted putting in, and he's only 70. I think it's 75 million from the summer of 2022.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, instead of spending 200+ million on Mbappe or 75 million on Haaland, I think it's a no-brainer, to be honest. I think Haaland every day of the week because of the price tag. And I think for what Man United need, Haaland would bring so much more. And, it's hard that because they're both so good and both would make such a difference. But in terms of the only thing I could probably make my decision on is the potential transfer fee. I think, and either or would probably be incredible at United. But so play more Haaland slightly now. I think
that's fair. That's fair. You mentioned a great point about Haaland being 20. He's the best striker in the world. No, he's not. I refuse to say that because in order for me, it's deeper than just goals. It's much deeper than just goals, right? This is an issue we have with Lukaku United. Lukaku scored a lot of goals for Manchester United. If you think about it, but why did we not want him here? He couldn't hold the ball up. His first touch was piss poor. Like, these are things that people forget. I think if Haaland came to Manchester United, I think within a year, people are not. He's going to score goals, but the overall play that's where you get judged at United. Can you, for 90 minutes, sustain that high level of intelligence, knowing what to do on the pitch? Holding, especially as a Manchester United striker, you need to hold the ball up. You need to be able to turn and beat defenders, do all those different types of things. I think that Jacob says Haaland has 43 goals in 43 games. Again, wonderful player, wonderful goal scorer. I don't think there's a better goal scorer on planet Earth right now. But football player, there's a lot of better strikers than Erling Haaland. And he's 20, so that's not a knock on him at all.
There is one other thing to consider, by the way, and Callum makes a good point about price tags. Mbappe will never be sold.
No.
He'll never be sold because nobody's stupid enough to pay 250 million, which is what it would take to get him. It's the same with Neymar. Neymar will never be sold again. When you spend that amount of money on a player, you've got to see a sell-on value, and nobody will afford or want to pay the sell-on value.
Right.
So it's just a point I wanted to make.
Mbappe best 7 in the world, Haaland best number 9. All
I'm
fair.
getting slaughtered in the comments as well for knowing nothing about Sancho.
Oh no, yeah, Sancho's he's a top player. He's a top player.
Look, I'll just address it quickly. I agree he is a top player. I agree he's in the top 2% of the players that we should be looking for that right wing. I just think that we've got surgery in other areas of the team first.
I agree.
It's not that I don't know anything about the player. I do. I think he's quick. He's got an eye for goal. He's got a great cross on him. He's got a good pass. He's got exceptionally quick feet. His interplay is really good, and he would be an asset to us. I'm not saying he wouldn't be an asset to us, but I feel we've got more pressing issues. That's the only for the amount of money we would have to pay 60 million quid. If we've only got a budget,
listen, I think they would. I still think they would. I still don't think they let him go for that amount of money, especially the way.
Personally,
I don't think they're going to let him go for that amount of money. If it's 50 million pounds for Sancho, oh my goodness, write the check, be on our merry way. You know what I'm saying? But if it's in that 80 million, if it's back to that 80 to 100, we've been burned, and we've been hurt so many times by this. Getting a player and thinking that player is going to make us a title contender. And then we realize, we still have 4 more positions that are desperately in need of being filled. And, it's just, I fear the Pogba situation. That's what I think.
Sancho would have won us the league this season, I think.
Really? You think you would have won the league?
Maybe not won the league, but been a lot bloody closer. I really think we would. I think it's such a pressing issue on that right wing sometimes. And I think Wan-Bissaka has been so isolated sometimes. For a right back that is, definitely not lauded for his attacking sense. Having Sancho in front of him would have been so much closer.
Listen, I completely agree. He would have made us. He makes us a much better side. I don't think that's a debate. Makes us a much better side. It's just can you stop that City 18 games on the bounce now? Are we really? Can we do that? Even if we had Sancho, I wonder if we could put together, 8 games on the bounce with wins. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's an outlier, isn't it? Not many teams ever do that, and that's credit to City for doing that. But we'd have been so much closer. Not every year someone goes and wins 18, 19, 20 games in a row. That's amazing. But I think the last time it happened was when City went and won. What was it? 20 games, and he won 100 points in the year. It's
Liverpool did it, didn't they? But it is
Liverpool last year. Sorry, yeah.
I read that comment, Temi, from Jarvis. He's missing.
Yeah, Jarvis. Listen, I promise you, I watch
missing the point.
I watch leagues outside of England. I promise you. Anyway, we're running out of time. I want to ask this question.
I'd also like to quickly point out as well. I want Haaland. I think he's amazing. So it's you. I'm not. I like him. I have said nothing bad about him. I said I wanted him.
Oh boy, fair enough. Beautiful.
For no reason.
Conversation. I'm going to ask a question. Real quick.
Oh yeah.
Dang.
What we we got 26, didn't we? 26. Haaland. Who'd have thought one player could put
yeah. Hey, this is what the Q&A portion is for. This is the great part about this show. We ask questions. You guys ask questions. We try to answer them. We generate debate. Hit the like button first, guys. We're well over 25 likes now. Thank you guys for that. We appreciate it. We want to have at least 200 views on this as well. So make sure to retweet this tomorrow. Let your friends know about it. We got a couple days before the Sociedad game. You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure make this streamer memorable. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, my question to the panel right now is: what position are Real Sociedad in the La Liga table right now? What position are they in the table right now?
Cut that up.
Just Google it. I mean, I did it right now.
Don't shout it out, Jeff.
I won't, man. I've been on that show.
No, I know.
No shouting it out. Just put it in the comments. Oh, I wonder who put this question here. Wow. Now all of you just type it in. Yes, here we go. It's trickling in. 5th place, Jacob Brock. Yes, Fred, 5th place. Fred again.
One thing before we close, I would say about our attack is we are lopsided on the left because we've got no fluidity across our front three. And you know, I've been speaking about this for a while on the show, and we need to be able to cross. You know, whoever's playing on the right, whoever's playing on the left needs to be able to cross over. That's why.
But no one wants to play on the right. Like even if they cross, they all go to the left. They don't want to stay there. You know.
Yes. All right, guys. We gotta. Oh, when are you guys next live? Listen, we are live every single day on All For United. We have tons and tons of content. The next Q&A show is 2 days before our next game, so make sure to look out for that. I'm always hosting them. You know what I'm saying? But we have tons of content in between them. United Daily's on. We have our women's show with John. Joe does Wall of Reds. Karthik does our game day. Our game day content. You know what I'm saying? I do some game day content as well. So Jacob, we are on every single day. Make sure to follow us. Make sure to like and subscribe. Jeff, I appreciate you. Callum, thank you so much for joining. Stu, thank you for joining me as always. I appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button again. Oh, wow. Thanks for the show. It's amazing. Hey, we appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Make sure to hit that like button for us. Hit that subscribe button for us. We want to give you the best content possible, the best Manchester United content here. As always, I screenshotted all your names for all of you who answered the question correctly. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are going to get your names entered into a hat to win some great merchandise from Football Town Apparel. Once we get to 2.5K subscribers, we will be doing the raffle. Ooh. Let me stop. I'm just joking with you guys. Anyway, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I will see you guys all very, very shortly. Deuces.
See you guys.